Here, every past life feels real.
You are an Egyptian stonemason on the king's building site, and this is your whole life. Ancient Egypt, New Kingdom period. You are born not in the cool shade of a palace, and not beneath the columns that priests will later paint on tomb walls. You are born in a mud brick house by the river, where the air smells of silt, sweat, smoke from cheap fuel and old grain. Your mother gives birth on a reed mat. Donkeys are braying outside, flies buzz inside. The Nile has already pulled back after the flood, leaving thick black mud on the fields, and everyone in the village is thinking not about the gods, but about whether there will be enough strength to plow the land before the sun turns cruel again. They wipe you down with rough cloth. The first thing you feel is not comfort, it is heat. Even the morning is warm here. Even the shade does not promise relief. You grow up among people whose hands are always busy. Men mend hose, haul water, carry baskets, patch reed roofs. Women grind grain until their wrists ache. Children learn early to stay quiet and not get in the way of work. No one asks what you want to become. In your world, no one chooses a life. You receive it the same way you receive a rubbed raw neck from a yoke, crumbs of bread in your palm, or fever after bad water. You watch the older people and understand quickly. For a poor man, the body is everything. It is your only tool, your duty, your punishment, and your food. As a child, you love only the early morning, that short time when the sand is not burning yet and the air does not scrape your throat. You run along the damp edge of the fields where birds' tracks and bare footprints stay in the mud. Sometimes you think the world is beautiful. The sun rises over the river, the palm trees shake in the pale haze, boats cut quietly through the water. But then the day gathers strength and the beauty disappears. The sun becomes heavy like a blow from a stick. The air thickens, stones burn your feet. You see adults stooping too early in life. You see men with half their teeth gone by 40. You see women whose backs bend as if an invisible slab has pressed on them for years. And even then, you already understand. Your childhood is only a short delay before your body starts being spent too. You first go to the building site while you are still a boy, only to bring water. And there, for the first time, you see the king's great work not as glory, but as exhaustion. White limestone hurts your eyes in the sun. Dust hangs in the air so thick it feels like something you could chew. Men drag stone blocks on sledges, shouting to keep the rhythm, slipping in the mud that is poured under the runners, dropping to their knees and then getting up again. Overseers walk along the lines with sticks, not because everyone is lazy, because without fear, the human body sometimes stops before the work is done. You see backs striped with old scars. You see nails torn down to the flesh. You see one man coughing and coughing, bent in half, then sitting down on the ground and never getting up again because something inside him has simply run out. No one looks at him for long. The stone matters more. Your father does not speak beautifully. He does not teach you wisdom. He does not tell you stories of the king's glory or sing to you about eternal life. He simply takes your hand, turns your palm upward, and looks at how soft it still is. Then he says, "That will end soon." And it does. At first, you carry water and tools. Then you pass wedges, wooden mallets, and ropes. Then they let you chip smaller pieces from blocks, clear the ground, shovel broken stone, haul debris in a basket. Your shoulders begin to burn, your neck aches, the skin on your palms splits, blood mixes with white dust and turns into pink dirt. You do not complain. Complaining changes nothing. The sun does not weaken because you complain. The stone does not get lighter. The overseer does not grow kinder. Very early, you learn something else too. Stone is not just heavy, it is difficult. One block breaks cleanly, as if it already knows where it belongs. Another crumbles in the wrong place. A third hides a crack that is only noticed too late, after hours of labor, water, rope, Orders, curses, and other men's strength have already been spent on it. Then everything starts again. And the worst part is not the work itself. It is the feeling that your life is being poured into something that does not care about you at all. Stone does not respect effort. It does not remember exhaustion. It simply lies there and demands more. You quickly learn that the king's building site is not only skill, it is the rhythm of obedience. Everything here lives by someone else's order. When to rise, when to drink, when to pull, when to keep silent, when to shout together. You learn the sound of stone when a crack runs through it. You learn the smell of wet rope. You learn the taste of your own blood when sand gets into your mouth and your lips split open. You learn that heat stroke comes quietly. First the humming in your head, then the shaking in your fingers, then the world becomes too bright. If you are lucky, they drag you into the shade. If not, you collapse on your own, and someone simply steps over you, because the line of men must not break for a single body. Sometimes you work out in the open, where the sun beats straight down on your head as if it wants to split your skull. Sometimes you work inside half-dark passages, where lamps smoke, the air does not move, and dust sticks to your wet neck. But there is almost no difference. Outside, the sky burns you. Inside, the earth suffocates you. In both places, your body does not belong to you. It belongs to the working day. You live from one order to the next, from the first pull on the rope in the morning to the last painful opening of your fingers at night. By the time you become a young man, your muscles on your body are no longer a sign of strength. They are a sign of constant weight. You are strong, but it is the strength of a laboring body, not a warrior's. Your shoulders are broad because something is always resting on them. Your forearms are hard because you strike stone for hours. Your fingers begin to twist. Your joints ache even at night. You learn to use a chisel, to level a surface, to cut a groove, to shape an edge so the stone will fit with barely a gap. That is already craft now, no longer just brute force. For that, they value you more than a simple hauler. But they do not value you. They value the precision of your hands. If those hands break, they will find others. The working day cuts into you until it becomes a habit you can no longer escape. Before sunrise, you chew dry bread and wash it down with warm water. Then you walk to the site in the gray light, while the sand is still bearable. You can already hear the shouting there, the groaning of wood, men's heavy breathing, the ring of tools. Then the sun climbs, and everything alive begins to smell stronger. Sweat turns sour on skin. Wet cloth wrappings stink of dampness. Animal dung mixes with dust and lime.
By midday, your tongue sticks to the roof of your mouth. Your eyes sting from the glare, and every swallow of water feels too small for that kind of heat. But the day has not even reached its worst half yet. You watch the scribes and hate them quietly, without words. They stand in the shade, holding pallets, counting rations, writing down names, the grain handed out, the tools issued, the damaged blocks, the delays. Their fingers are thin, their backs are straight, their skin is not burned as dark. They know the signs that will outlive you, and you know only weight, pain, and the angle of a blow. Your life goes into the stone, but your name does not go with it. Your name will not be cut into the wall. It will stay in someone's memory for one generation, then wear away like the print of a bare foot in dry sand. In time, you understand something else. The king's building site feeds you and ruins you at the same time. They give you bread, onions, sometimes beer, sometimes dried fish if you are lucky. Without this work, your family might starve. With it, you still live on the edge. Every bite is paid for in pain. Every swallow of water smells of clay and sweat. Every evening you come home feeling as if the bones inside you have been rubbed against one another. Your mother looks at you and says nothing. She always knew it would be this way. One day your father simply does not go to work. He has been coughing too long, spitting dark too often, taking too long to get up from the mat. His chest whistles, his skin hangs loose. Suddenly you see how your own road ends if a block does not crush you first, and the sun does not burn you empty. Not in glory, not in honor, in wear.
Then comes the season when they move you closer to the tomb itself. Now you do not only pull and cut, you fit stone inside the corridors, where there is less light but more thick trapped air. It smells of dust, sweat, lamp oil, and human breath standing still in a narrow passage. The walls are colder than outside, but it is not coolness, it is the dead chill of stone. You hear the knocking of hundreds of blows, and the echo makes them sound like drums somewhere under the earth. The best craftsmen work here. Painters mark the walls, carvers cut the signs for the king. Priests sometimes pass by, and everyone lowers their eyes. You look at the painted scenes of eternal life and think about your father coughing blood in a mud brick hut. For the king, eternity. For you, one more day in which you must not drop a tool on your foot and must not choke on the dust. You marry not for love, but because life must go on. A girl from a nearby village knows how to grind grain, endure heat, and keep quiet when things are hard. That is enough. Your house is small. At night, it is as hot inside as an oven. In the daytime, it smells of flour, smoke, and bodies. Children are born to you. One dies very young before the next flood season. His belly swells, his skin grows hot, his eyes go cloudy. You carry his little body, light, almost weightless, and for the first time you understand that a person can disappear almost without a trace. The second child lives, then a daughter after him. You look at their thin hands and hate the future because you can already see how it is getting ready to lay its full weight on them too. You work more now because hunger is looking at you not only through your own eyes. Your wife grinds grain in the half-dark. The stone mill scrapes in a dull, repeating sound, as if it too is being worn down by life. You come back from work and see that the house stands on a woman's exhaustion, no less than the building site stands on a man's. Her palms are rubbed raw by dough, water, baskets, and the millstone. In the bad seasons, the children's bellies swell, their faces are thin, their hair grows brittle. Sometimes you catch yourself thinking that you work for the king by day and for hunger by night, and both of them are equally impossible to satisfy. There are injuries that never leave you. One day, a block shifts. You jump aside in time, but the edge of the stone catches your shin. The pain feels like a red-hot stake driven into your leg. You fall, the world turns white, someone shouts, someone curses, not because of you, but because of the delay. They wrap your leg in cloth. You lie in the shade and watch flies land on the blood. A few days later, you are back at work because your ration is needed now, not when the leg is fully healed. After that, you limp in the cold mornings and after hard shifts. Old wounds ache as if the body keeps memory better than any carving on a wall. You begin to notice how the sight devours men in different ways. One loses an eye to flying stone, another has his foot crushed, a third slowly fades from coughing and dust. A fourth looks whole from the outside, but inside he seems burned out long ago. He works, eats, lies down, rises again, and looks through people as though he is staring through smoke. Sometimes someone tries to argue with an overseer. It usually ends quickly. The stick comes down on the back, the shoulders, the face. The others look away. Not only from fear, from fatigue too. In a world where a man barely has enough strength to survive the day, there is rarely enough strength left for another man's rebellion. Sometimes you see the king himself, or rather his processions, banners, decorated litters, the shine of gold, the clean linen, the guards, the priests, the smell of incense that for a moment covers the stink of sweat and dust. And every time it feels like another kind of human being. They speak of Mot, of order, of eternity, of the favor of the gods, but you know order in another way. Order is when the poor man pulls and the great man receives a name that will last for thousands of years. Order is when your back serves the straightness of another man's wall. Order is when the tomb that wears your palms down to the flesh will be painted with scenes of abundance you have never seen at your own table. Sometimes at night, you dream not of gods, but of work, not of blessed fields, not of water up to your knees among endless crops, You dream of a rope snapping, a block sliding, timber cracking, someone shouting out so briefly that death is already inside the sound. You wake soaked in sweat, even if the night is cooler than usual. Your fingers close by themselves as if they are still holding a tool. Your wife sleeps beside you with the heavy sleep of an exhausted body. The house is dark, but inside you, the building site does not end even in sleep. As the years pass, you become a master. Younger men watch the way you place a blow, the way you choose a line, the way you listen to stone before you split it where it should break. You earn the right to curse at the inexperienced. You earn a rare kind of respect. Sometimes they give you a slightly better share. Sometimes they ask your opinion, but the price of that respect is written on your body. Your back is no longer fully straight. The calluses on your palms are thick and hard and cracked at the edges. Your front teeth are worn down by the sand that gets into your food all the time. At night, you wake because your hands cramp shut. Your wife rubs your fingers to loosen them. You stay silent because words do not heal.
Your son grows, and one day he walks beside you to the building site for the first time. You look at him and see 2 times at once, your own past and his future. He is still thin, quick on his feet, with eyes that hold more questions than obedience. You want to tell him, "Run!" but where would he go? The fields do not belong to you. Taxes will not vanish. The priests will not allow him to become a scribe. The army takes only some men, and death is waiting there too, only in another form. So you tell him something else: how to hold a tool, how not to leave his fingers under a block, how to drink in small swallows, not all at once, how to see that moment in an overseer's face when it is wiser to keep quiet. This is the wisdom a poor father passes to his son, not how to live well, but how to keep from breaking for a little longer. You begin to see the lie inside greatness more clearly, not because you stop believing in the gods, but because you know too well what beauty is paid for. Every smooth surface is someone's torn fingernails. Every tight seam between stones is someone's broken back. Every painted passage is trapped air, lamp smoke, dry coughing, torn wrappings, overseers shouting, blood covered with dust so the work can go on. Later, people will look at all this and say, "A great kingdom." But a great kingdom always stands on those whose names are not needed. One day you walk deeper into a finished part of the tomb. The walls are already painted. Blue, red, and gold figures seem alive in the lamplight. The king is shown young, strong, beautiful. He hunts, gives offerings, receives gifts, goes to the gods without fear. And you stand there in the half-dark, covered in dust, with a bad leg, an aching back, and a broken nail. And you understand the bitterest thing in your life. Your labor creates a beautiful lie. Not in the sense that the king is not great, but in the sense that you are not there on the walls. There is no sweat that turns sour in the heat, no rotten bandages on wounds, no knocked out teeth, no children dead before they were truly named, no women washing blood from their husbands' shins. No old men people stop noticing as soon as they cannot lift a basket anymore. When old age comes, it does not announce itself all at once. At first, you simply take longer to straighten up in the morning. Then you sit down more often when no one is looking. Then you can no longer lift in one motion what you used to lift without thinking. Summer becomes worse than it was in youth. Winter dawns bite harder into your joints. The cough stays longer. Your sight weakens from glare, dust, and years of working in dim passages. You are still useful as a skilled man, but you can no longer pull what the young men pull. And for a poor man, growing old is dangerous. The less he can do, the less his day is worth. You begin working on finer tasks, watching the fitting, checking surfaces, teaching younger men. It looks easier from the outside. In truth, it is bitter. You stand there and watch others do the very work that once made you valuable. You know that soon they will leave you at home more often than they call for you. And at home there is no rest waiting for you. There is poverty. Your wife is worn down too. Her hands are as rough as yours. Your daughter has gone to another house. Your son carries his own weight now, but he has children of his own. You become a man who is fed not because he is needed, but because he has not died yet. That humiliates more deeply than a stick.
Your father died long ago. Your mother too. You barely remember their voices now, only their hands. Your fathers were hard, cracked with dust in the lines of the skin. Your mothers were warm and smelled of grain. Now your own hands are like that too, only worse. You look at them in the evening and see your whole life without priests or inscriptions. Here is the scar from a wedge. Here is the finger that never fully straightened in. Here is the pale line from an old cut. Here is the thickened knuckle where the skin kept splitting from the rope. Your whole life story is there, not in words, but in flesh. Toward the end, you barely go to the site anymore. Sometimes they call you to judge a crack or the edge of a block, but more often you sit in the shade by the house and listen to the world in which there is less and less room left for you. You hear distant stone being struck, water splashing, a donkey, a child crying, the scrape of a millstone, neighbors quarreling. You have heard all of it your whole life, but now there seems to be a layer of dust between you and every sound. You cough for a long time, sometimes until your vision darkens. Something inside your chest whistles and scrapes. You eat little. You sleep badly. The body that served as a tool for so many years has now become only a heavy shell full of pain. On one of your last days, your son helps you stand. You want to walk a little farther and look at the river. Your legs shake. The air is hot, but you feel cold inside it. You move slowly. It smells of wet earth and river mud. Birds wheel over the water. The Nile is calm, as if it does not care how many generations have come to it with thirst, sweat, and ashes. You look at the water and understand this. The river will outlast the king, the tomb, the names of the priests, and maybe even the stones you spent years shaping. And you will leave the way all the others left, without an inscription, without gold, without hymns, only with a worn-out body and a few people who will remember you for as long as they themselves remain alive. You do not die on a summit, or in a temple, or under chanting voices. You die at home, on a mat, in hot air that smells of dust, oil, and old cloth. Your wife sits beside you. Your son is silent. Outside, it is just an ordinary day. Someone is bargaining. Someone is shouting. Someone is carrying water. The world does not stop for a poor stonemason. Your breathing grows short and quick, then thin and slow. It feels as though there is a heavy stone inside your chest, one no man can move now. You think not of the gods and not of the king. You think of how long this weight lasted, how early it began, how little of this life truly belonged to you. And still, after you are gone, there will be no nothing. A wall will remain, one your hands helped build. A clean seam between blocks will remain. A corner measured by your eye will remain. A corridor will remain where priests will carry incense for a man whose face will live in paintings longer than all of you lived together. No one will speak your name, but every stone that sat where it should had once obeyed your blow. That is the bitter truth of a poor craftsman. You build eternity for someone else, and then vanish inside it without a trace. In your life, you may have lifted, dragged, fitted, or helped set down dozens and hundreds of stone blocks weighing many tons altogether. You tore the skin from your palms more times than you could count. You lost one child. You lost your father before you were ready. You lost teeth, strength, the easy step in your walk, the straightness of your back, the clarity of your sight. You lived about as long as heat, dust, weight, and poor food allowed. Not short for a poor man of your time, but not long for a human life. You were not a general, not a priest, Not a scribe, not a king. You were one of the men everything rested on. Men like you are not painted in the center of the wall, but without you, the wall would not exist. That is what people rarely say when they look at the greatness of the ancient world. Beneath almost every great stone, there is a life that was worn down to hold it up.
This fate is behind you. Enter the next story.